the News Channel 5 network. This is the Plus Side of Nashville.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Plus Side of Nashville. I'm Tawanda Coleman. Are you or someone you know considering adoption? Well, on today's show, we're going to share some helpful information on the whole adoption process. We have a representative or two here from the Catholic Charities of Tennessee who will be talking about what you need to know if you choose to adopt. It should be very interesting. But first, we're kicking things off with what started out as a dream and became a reality over 20 years ago. Joining me from the Saddle Up program is the program director, Lindsay Wood, along with Sandra Vicari, a physical therapist. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. I've always thought of Saddle Up as a great program. I've seen stories on it in the past and the types of things that you do, Lindsay. But for those folks who may not be familiar, talk about the program, what it is exactly that you do.
Okay. Saddle Up is a nonprofit out of Franklin, Tennessee. We are Middle Tennessee's oldest and largest therapeutic riding program for equine-assisted activities. And we currently offer 4 different programs. We have our recreational therapeutic riding, physical therapy through hippotherapy, which Sandra will talk more about, as well as our equine-assisted learning and Saddle Up Equestrian Club.
So exactly who do you serve? You know, what are some of these, I know they're young people, what ages, and what are some of the disabilities?
So we serve kids from the ages of 2 to the age of 18. From 2 to 4, they exclusively have to participate in our hippotherapy program.
Okay.
But we serve any type of documented disability. So our largest populations currently are children on the autism spectrum disorder, and then also we have children with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, but we actually serve over 50 different types of disabilities.
So basically what we've learned is that riding a horse is a type of therapy for these young people.
Correct.
And you work specifically with them as a physical therapist, and I understand that Tennessee, you're the only facility in Tennessee that has what's called hippotherapy type of program.
Well, there are other programs in Tennessee, but we are the only facility member of the American Hippotherapy Association,
okay,
which governs anyone who performs the practice of hippotherapy. So there are other facilities, but we are the only AHA member facility.
Okay, great. Thank you for clearing that up. So what exactly is hippotherapy?
Hippo is Greek for horse, and it refers to the use of the horse as a in the medical model, where we as therapists are using the horse as a tool versus therapeutic riding or some of the other programs where the child is actually in therapeutic riding learning how to maneuver the horse. They're using reins. They're learning how to ride a horse. It's a form of an adapted recreational activity. Whereas hippotherapy, or physical, occupational, or speech therapy with the horse, is actually we are using the horse as our tool to help that child achieve their therapy goals, whether it's a language-based goal, a movement-based goal, or something along those lines.
So who benefits from this program? What are the typical disabilities that you're working with?
Well, as Lindsay spoke to, we do see a lot of children on the autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, Down syndrome, any child who, as Lindsay said, has a documented disability. There are very few situations where a child wouldn't benefit from the movement of the horse and the relationship with the horse that they develop through our programs.
So how often do you work with the children? Is this a program where it's a daily type of thing, or do you have the children to come out once, twice a week?
Yes, Saddle Up operates Monday through Saturday pretty much year-round, and we break, for holidays and school breaks and stuff like that. Typically for the programming, kids come out once a week for up to an hour. A few of our programs, they might actually be there, once a week for 2 hours, just depending on the type of programming and the goals and stuff they're working towards.
Okay. So why is this hippotherapy so effective? What is it about this type of?
It's the movement of the horse. It's the three-dimensional movement of the horse, and it very closely mimics the movement of the human gait when we walk, the way that our body moves, the way our torso rotates and our pelvis fluctuates. And as a therapist, that's not something I can duplicate on a therapy ball. It's rhythmical, it's repetitive, and it's extremely effective in helping a child develop better balance and postural control, and even an understanding of how their body moves in space. So there's also that understanding and awareness of their own body, which again is just very difficult to duplicate with any other therapy tool.
Right. Lindsay, talk about the horses, because I would imagine that these have to be a special type of horse as well.
Oh yeah, our horses are very specifically trained for their roles at Saddle Up. And so when we get a horse donated to us, it goes through 3 months of training, and we first they put it through the ringer to make sure that anything that would come up in a therapy session or in a riding lesson, they would be comfortable with and be able to support the rider. And so we don't have any specific breed that we need. We just want a horse that is committed to what they do and willing to learn new things.
Do you pair, Sandra, the children up with a particular horse, and every time that is their horse?
Absolutely. Going back to the movement of the horse, for each of our children, their needs are very different. If I have a child who is very weak and low muscle tone, I may want a horse with a little bit more of a bounce in their step, if you will, to help awaken those muscles and improve that child's awareness. Whereas on the opposite end of the spectrum, if I have a child with cerebral palsy who has a lot of tension in their muscles, I may choose a horse who has a much smoother, slower gait to help with the relaxation, as well as the way the horse is shaped, if they're real wide on the top or more narrow. But absolutely, it's very, very specific on which horse we choose to pair with each child, especially more so from a therapy aspect. And then, yes, that child does ride the same horse, because as much of the importance of the movement is just that child developing a relationship with the horse. It's very, very special. So
I would imagine that the first time the children get on a horse, it might be a little bit scary. But talk about the response that you eventually receive, and sort of how this helps these children.
So a lot of times when we get kids that are new to the program, we do an assessment of their skills. And there's quite a few that are very hesitant the first time you put them on the horse. But as Sandra talked about the movement, as soon as they get on the horse and they start moving, they really realize, like, this is a really cool thing. And most of the kids really actually want to keep riding, and then don't want to stop, and then don't want to get off.
So empowering. Very empowering. And I think the majority of the time the response we see from these children is that of, you're on a horse, you're kind of bigger than everybody else sometimes, and just doing something that, especially for our parents, to see their child do something that is something they never might have imagined their child being able to do, especially if they have the physical limitations. So it's pretty amazing.
I understand there is a waiting list for children to get in this program.
Right.
But if a parent is interested and really thinks that this would be of benefit to their child, what can they do as far as trying to get on the list or get in the program?
They can actually call me as the program director. I manage our waiting list. So they can call the Saddle Up office or visit our website and find my email, and I can get them all the information they need. It would be a little bit of a wait, but we do offer what we call a provisional program for our therapeutic riding lessons, to where they can actually ride. They can ride during the day. So a lot of kids that are maybe in preschool or homeschooled, even though they're waiting on the waiting list, there's actually still opportunities for programming for them. Okay. So they would be welcome to call us and get that information.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And this being a year-round program, you know, when we got 90-degree temperatures outside, and even when it's cold, you're still out there working with the kids, but it's in an enclosed environment.
Yeah, we have an indoor arena. Our facility is completely ADA compliant, and so it's not climate controlled. So today it's going to be hot out there, but they will get to ride through the heat, through the cold, and things like that. So we have a lot of fun out there.
Great. So talk about if someone feels like, you know, this is something I would love to volunteer, because I know lots of nonprofits are always looking for folks to come out and volunteer. What can volunteers do, and do you need some?
So we're always in need of volunteers, because the trend now for volunteers is a lot of one-day projects. Well, we're against the norm in that we need volunteers to come on a regular basis. Just as much as we want a consistent horse for our kids, we want them to have consistent faces that they see every week. So if someone's interested in volunteering, they can again visit our website, call the office. They can speak with our volunteer services director, and we can get them started with training. And we will take anyone from the age of 12 and up. If they're not used to horses, we will teach them everything they need to know to handle the horses. If they're not used to kids, we'll teach them what they know to get used to the kids.
That's fantastic.
It's a life-altering experience.
I can just
as a
imagine.
volunteer, we are very blessed, and our program could not function without the volunteers.
Are you the only physical therapist, or are there others?
It's myself, Kelly Newman, and then we also have OT, Gina Nelson, at present. And our hope is to eventually then acquire speech therapy as well, so that we can apply the full array of services for our children.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So you have some long-term goals or some things that you hope to see happen.
Yes, we're definitely wanting to grow in all of our programming and really to reduce that wait for the kids that are on the waiting list, to reduce the wait time, to reduce that list so that all kids that need services can get them.
Where are you guys located?
So we're in Franklin, Tennessee, actually on Old Hillsboro Road. We have about 34 acres of a farm out there. It's beautiful, beautiful landscape.
Wow, I can just imagine.
Yeah.
Well, what a great program, and you all are doing wonderful work. I know the parents of these children and the children themselves appreciate everything that you're doing for them, and I thank you both so much for coming on to tell us about Saddle Up.
Right,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for being here. I also want to thank, up next, learn what you need to know if you're thinking about giving a child a loving home through adoption. So stay with us.